Welcome to Super League Raw Weekly, the penultimate show, and of course the grand final is on the way. Let's get things underway. Welcome to Super League Raw Weekly.
If Saints made a statue of Kieran Cunningham, well, they need to get some more metal.
I remember asking one of the boys who's this kid, and said James Roby.
Skull ball to Roby! Saints are back in it!
Whistles blowing down the hall. I still hear it a distant brawl. Whisper fractions from the heart.
There's nothing he can't do. He's unbelievable. He turns up week after week, play after play, game after game. He's, like I say, I'm almost run out of words to describe him. He's just been absolutely unbelievable. And for me, he's in the conversation for the best ever.
And he's been at the front of St Helens for a very long time. For me, he retires a legend of the sport, not just for St Helens. I think he's been an absolute icon and will be remembered for a very long time.
Oh, Roby, an outrageous dummy! Wonderful birdie! James Roby with a try!
Just waiting to be found. Can you try just a little? Fight just a little. Cry just a little bit more. I can't sway in the middle. Live life in a riddle. I can't steer anymore.
Week in, week out. What an effort it is from that man. Year in, year out.
It's Mr. Consistency.
One of the greatest ever to have played this great game of rugby league.
James has been at the heart of all those fantastic St Helens teams, and we've got maximum respect for him. Me personally, I love the way he plays the game. Ultimate competitor, very skillful and talented, but I just like the way he carries himself away from the game.
Great defence! Roby!
It would really be a St Helens game. We didn't give credit to James Roby for his efforts on the field.
To play over 550 career games requires a different level of dedication.
I'm just waiting to be found. Can you try just a little? Fight just a little. Cry just a little bit more. I can't
James Roby wins the match for St Helens!
steer anymore.
Biggest compliment I can pay James Roby is that he hasn't changed one bit since he was the 18-year-old kid who rolled into the team back in 2003 or 4. He's still grounded, still down to earth, really humble.
He's still the best in the business with what he can do at his ripe old age. And
we're blessed as a club, as an environment, as an organisation to have had someone like James Roby be a part of it. So whilst he won't be there as a player next year, there's a lot of people taking so much from just being in and around James for a long, long time.
there's a statue of Kieran Cunningham outside of St Helens ground. I've no doubt that there'll be another one flying up anytime soon.
Yeah, I think we need to get a big lump of bronze out and get the other corner of the stadium free.
just a little. Cry just a little bit more. I can't sway in the middle. Live life in a riddle. I can't steer anymore.
So a special tribute to start the penultimate Super League Raw Weekly of 2023. As always, they're flying in. Greg, tear to the eye there or not?
A little bit.
No, I mean, there's no denying Mr. Roby deserves a bit of a fanfare as he sails off into the sunset. Incredible player. We'll be glad to see the back of him.
Oh, yeah, well, we were glad to see the back of Kieran Cunningham.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well,
You've got
Clarkey next year, mate. So they're not, don't get me wrong, they've got a decent replacement there in Davil Clark, without question. As always, they're coming in. Joel's gutted that it's the penultimate show. Steph there, saying what a servant he is. Good to see Steve Cartledge in the house. Dawn Baker, as always. Dawn has been here all year. Good effort, Dawn.
Good on you, Dawn.
Jamie Humes as well. They're all coming in. Great to see you all. We've got a packed show, absolute packed show this evening. I've already given Greg a tip off as to what we're doing. Greg, it's a packed show, isn't it?
It is. It's like going to a Ken Dodd show. This one tonight. You won't get on till 2 a.m.
No, we'll be on time, but yeah, this is a biggie. So we're gonna have to go at some pace. We'll have some more tributes to Roby throughout the show, and we're going out with a big video tonight. So stick around for that. And I think every rugby league fan will probably find that quite poignant at the end of tonight's show. But I won't say much more than that. Right, okay, here we go, as we always do. 6,306 now in
Fantastic.
the forum. Thank you one and all for your love and your support. As always, it is absolutely wonderful. Congratulations to York Valkyrie, who won the Women's Super League final at York on Sunday. Great game, really enjoyed it. Leeds probably will be disappointed, I think, with the way it went for them on the day, but their first championship and long overdue. Really pleasing to see that the women's side of the York club doing so well.
Oh, it is they've finished top a couple of seasons, lost in the grand final a couple of seasons. So it should be the best team in the competition, crowned as champions. I was made up for them. It's been a long time coming. And a great game, but that was silly at the end, celebrating while if that had been a closer game, that was silly. Come on. We don't want to see things like that. But good game. The women's game the last 2 or 3 years, the women's game is just unrecognisable to where it was 5 or 6 years ago. It's a superb product, some great players, and I'm really made up for the Valkyrie that they've actually finally got over that hurdle and won it. Really,
absolutely. Dawn's getting excited. Hopefully, Dawn's going to be in the Piccadilly Tap at 2 o'clock on Saturday to join Super League.
2:30, sir. 2:30.
Well, no, 2 o'clock. Some of us were dedicated. You know what I'm saying? Craig Rigby is saying, "Is this on YouTube?" Yes, it is, but not live. We may be remedying that next year. We're hoping next year we will be streaming to both platforms live on a Tuesday night. But we need a sponsor. They are the first time we've said that this season. We are looking for a sponsor because at the moment this is coming out of my own back pocket, and quite frankly, I can't afford to keep doing it the way I'm doing it, guys. If you want this product the way that it's given to you, we're going to need somebody to give us a helping hand. So if there's any local businesses out there who want to sponsor Super League Raw in 2024, get in touch, because one thing is for certain, we don't want to dilute the product that we're giving you. We only want it to be enhanced. Right, Greg, we move on at a pace.
Yeah,
delighted with this. Rob Burrow last, I think Sunday night, getting Pride of Britain alongside Kevin Sinfield, and also announced today that the Spirit of Rugby League award is going to be given to Sir Rob Burrow.
No, there's nothing more you can add to it. It's well deserved. You know, his family around him are fantastic. Kev Sinfield's been amazing. There's not a lot to add to that.
No,
but just to say, well deserved. He's had the pair of them have had every plaudit under the sun, and well deserved. It's good to see at last proper recognition for their efforts.
Absolutely, mate. No, absolutely outstanding. Lovely family. Fantastic. Right. Okay. Before we go on to our next little bit of video magic, we're going to have a quick game of Greg in one sentence. This should be fun. So, Greg in one sentence. Right, Greg. So we're gonna try and whiz through the things that we don't really want to get into detail with. Of course, the preview shows will be back next year, so all the comings and goings and the strengths of squads for 2024, we'll deal with that then. So, but let's quickly run through these. First and foremost, in one sentence, Betfred renewed their sponsorship for 3 more years.
Fantastic news.
Absolutely. Abbas Miski, Player of the Year for the Wigan Warriors.
Yeah, can't argue.
Outstanding. Kennedy out, Whitbread in at Hull KR.
Good business.
Outstanding business, I would say, sir. Opachik re-signs for Hull KR. Yeah,
agree with that.
Shocking at the weekend, though, mate.
Oh, he was, yeah, but none of them came out of that with any kind of glory.
No, he didn't, did they? Oh dear, it comes to something when you can't read your own writing. Oh, that's a bit. Oh yeah, there we go. Edwards blasts the Rugby Football League.
Just one sentence.
One sentence. We might come back to that later.
I think a lot of rugby league fans will agree with him, and it's about integrity that the things that he mentioned are dealt with.
I don't think I've ever seen a sentence with as many commas as that. Right. Cassiano or Bullock to replace in the Partington swap with Salford?
Personally, Cassiano, but I think Bullock will be the one.
And on a separate note, do you think Salford will be in 2024? I think there's a lot of problems there.
I think
they're hemorrhaging players at a rate.
If Brodie Croft, 300 grand for Brodie Croft, that would solve a lot of problems for Salford, financially wise. Maybe not. Excuse me. Maybe not player wise though.
Right. Yeah. I mean, with the way that they're losing their best players, mate, they're going to struggle next year. I'm with you. I think Bullock. I like Bullock. I like him. He's been unlucky with injury this year, but of those two, I like Bullock. Right. Here's one for Steph Sale. Anthony Milford to Lee. Could it happen?
Who knows? Who knows with Derek?
Anything's possible
with Derek. Who
knows?
And you know what? It'd be fantastic to see him in Super League.
Wouldn't it just?
Absolutely
outstanding.
Fantastic.
George Lawler extends at Casford for another 2 years.
Yeah. Fair play, decent player, solid player.
And at last, maybe getting more game time, Rowan Milnes from Cull KR to Castleford.
Yeah, I think he's nailed on a starting spot, isn't he, if he goes to Castleford?
Milnes and Miller. That's a mouthful for a commentator, isn't it? There you go. Liam Moore.
Bill Arthur's got no chance.
No chance at all. He'll get them mixed up. Who's the one with the ponytail? Does it matter? Liam Moore is the referee on Saturday with our friend Mr. Chris Kendall in the video referee. Booth?
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Exactly.
That only time will tell on that one. I just don't understand why we have to have a Wigan-based referee in charge of a grand final. I'm not questioning the integrity of Liam Moore. I'm just saying it opens up all sorts of avenues of criticism. Just put Chris Kendall or Ben Thaler in charge.
Or you've got Jack Smith as another option, haven't you?
Jack Smith, yeah.
As another option. Yeah, interesting. Luke Thompson announced at Wigan.
Yeah, a good signing. But
I thought I was going to say salary cap then for a minute, but anyway.
Well, yeah.
Well, we get it. We get it every year. If you actually give it that money,
hey,
you know what I mean?
Mr. Eastbourne Warrington, we can't talk about the salary cap. Hello, Mr. Pot. You're a kettle.
I'll tell you, they must have the most expensive cleaners in the comp, without doubt. And that's another story. Zane Musgrove to the Wire.
Again, a great sign. Potentially a great signing. We've been bitten on the backside by Aussie forwards over the last couple of seasons. Let's hope this one's a keeper.
Let's hope indeed that he is. Well, there you go. We've got through it. I don't think we've ever gone through the news as quick as that. If we missed anything, I'm sorry, but don't worry about it. We'll do a full squad review before next season. Do not worry about that. Dawn in the chat, not so sure about the Thompson signing. She's in agreement with you, Reggie, about the referee. She's gone in.
Well,
she says she's agreeing with you, which is good to see. So
is that the first time this season, Dawn, you've agreed with me?
Possibly. And Steve Carlish is doing a bit of hothouse flowers where Bullock's concerned. He's saying, don't go. Don't leave me now, but I won't sing. Right, okay, ladies and gentlemen, don't do it. Right, we have whittled down the top try scorers. The best tries of Super League to 6. It was going to be 5. And then something happened at the weekend. So we're going with 6. We're going with 6. So get yourself, here come the top 6 as voted for by yourselves and by the Super League Raw team. These are the top 6 tries of the 2023 season. Which of these 6 is your ultimate winner? Get in the chat, and whilst you're thinking about it, here they come for your viewing pleasure. Enjoy.
I can hardly stand the heat, soaking underneath the sheet, burning like a flame within, blisters all over my skin, always a step behind, just like I'm going blind, ever out on the loose, I will never get to choose. I'm a slave to
top 6, Greg. Which of those 6 would be the one that you would choose for the Super League 2023 best try? Which one are you going with out of that 6?
I have to stay faithful to Mr. Timothy Lafay, I'm afraid.
You're staying faithful to Lafay.
Yeah, with Matt Duffy a close second, but maybe that's because I'm biased. And then Harry Smith, I think.
Yeah, the Smith one's class. I'm actually for the. Do you know what? Again, detail. Only pure detail, this mate. I'm going Sutcliffe for the pure reason 8 players touched that ball. Seven in the Lafay, 8 in the Liam Sutcliffe. It went through more hands than well, I won't say it.
No.
I won't go there. God will be shut down. But it went through.
Steady on.
More.
We've not been sued yet. Don't start now.
Don't start now. But no, I mean, but I think every single one of them absolutely outstanding. We're going to put the vote on the fans forum, those 6 to choose. We'll put the video on there as well tomorrow. And next week, we will announce which try was voted for by the fans forum for the 2023. Well, it's all a dream. It's all a dream. Go to sleep. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Steph's agreeing with you. Lafay, he must want you to pay for his train fare, mate, on Saturday. Anyway, that's another story. That's another story. Right, okay. Like I say, plenty to get through. We hope you enjoyed those tries. I'm sure that you did. Right, okay. Let's get into it. Tonight, there's a little thing called the Man of Steel dinner, and these 3 players were announced on the shortlist for the Young Player of the Year. Matty Nicholson, Warrington Wolves, Brad O'Neill, Wigan Warriors, and Josh Fewlis of the Warrington Wolves. It won't be Super League Raw if we didn't do a bit of analysis, so here it is. That's very difficult, very difficult to compare and contrast because they're all playing different positions. But as the graphic there shows, O'Neill played the most games, Fewlis 21. Nicholson, of course, had that big part of the season out with his operation he had to have. Tries, as you'd expect, going the way of Fewlis on the wing. Good effort from Nicholson, 6, has to be said. Tackle busts all day long, Fewlis. Same with clean breaks. Tackles, 619 from O'Neill. Central positions, 539. You'd expect Fewlis to be last on that. 24 errors for Josh, not good. 10 for Nicholson. 2 for O'Neill. Carries, again, more for Josh, more meters for Josh as well. Those are the stats. Very, very difficult. I think O'Neill, for me, I think he's got a massive future in the game. I really do. I also think Nicholson's got a massive future in the game. But this is the 2nd season in succession now for me that Josh Fewlis has attributed himself well in Super League. I thought the game against Wigan in the quarter-final comes to mind. In terms of how well he played under high ball. He scored a couple of long for the Huddersfield try. I think it was either Wakey or Hull KR at home where he went on that mazy run, and I think he scored a brace. Is it Wakefield? He scored a brace in that, didn't he? So for me, no bias. I just think on that shortlist, because it's not just this season, he was there in that last season as well, and I think he's showing a degree of consistency. I think O'Neill's time will come. I think Nicholson's will definitely come. But I would hope that Josh Fewlis gets that, albeit I do think Brad O'Neill will get it. Yeah, I agree. I think Brad O'Neill will get it. I think I'm surprised that on Nicholson there because of the time out through injury. Yeah. There are some other young players that I thought not good. I know we've not got the time to not go into detail on that. There were some players, some other Delaney and Semba.
Yeah, definitely. I'm surprised that 2 Warrington players being in there. I would love to see Fewlis because he's brave. You can't. Whatever you say about Josh Fewlis, he's brave, and the amount of head-eye shots he took that went unpunished in the early part of the season. He was the one consistency I thought throughout the kind of Powell, the early Powell, the Powell this season. So I'll get my words out of it. And then got dropped, and he was the one consistency. So I'd like to see Fewlis win it. But I'm with you. I think O'Neill will get it. Yeah, I do. And O'Neill, he's kept Powell out the side.
Powell's moving on. I mean, there's a lot of talk Powell's moving on with maybe Leeds as his destination.
Maybe,
because Lehman's coming in, isn't he?
Yeah,
Lehman's coming in. So
maybe to Hull to replace Dwyer.
Maybe, but like I say, really difficult. Really difficult to compare and contrast. But a lot of love for Fewlis in the chat as well. Jimmy Rogers, he's going Fewlis. Joel Scholl says Fewlis as well. He's going that way. So, like I say, quite a lot.
I'd like to think so.
Yeah, a lot of love there for Fewlis in there. Tompkins getting a couple of votes for trial of the season. Tim Lafay as well. Steve Cartledge thinks agreeing with me with Sutcliffe, which is nice to see, Steve. Cheers. Nobody else
Nepotism,
does.
sir.
Nobody else is doing.
He wants to pay for your train fare home as well.
But there you go. Right. So, what's your thoughts in the forum? Kevin Wallace say Nicholson for him. I'm going to say Brad O'Neill get it, but I'd hope Thewlis gets it. Greg?
Same with you. I'd like Thewlis to get it simply for his bravery, but I think O'Neill will just pip him to it.
Yeah, and Dawn is shedding a tear for Sam Powell. She's going to miss him. Don't worry, he'll be coming back a couple of times a year. You can shake his hand on the way around the field. He's not going anywhere.
I'd say I'll give Sam Powell his due. Whenever I've been to watch the Wigan reserves for obvious reasons this season, he's always been there encouraging them and supporting them. So give the guy his due.
Tidy player, Sam Powell. I think he's not as flamboyant as the likes of Pape, Daz Clark, etc. You know that Matt Parcelling around the ruck, but does a lot of defence, does a lot of unseen work. Does Sam Powell?
Nothing gets past. A lot gets past Sam Powell.
No, absolutely not.
Superb.
I completely agree. Right, we move on then to the next category, which of course is Coach of the Year nominees. Now, I'll be honest with you, folks. I will be honest with you. We're not going to compare Paul Rowley in this. We're just not. Quite frankly, it's a nonsense. And that's no disrespect to Paul. Like the fella, I think he comes across as a really good fella, but I think he might be a shade embarrassed that he's been nominated.
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
I think Willie Peters, without doubt.
Even Paul Wellens.
Paul Wellens. I agree. Completely agree.
But definitely Willie Peters. I mean, come on.
Absolutely. So let's analyse these three coaches, Greg. So obviously Challenge Cup has had a big bearing in this. McNamara 29 games, Pete 31, Lamb 32. Win percentages, no surprise. Wigan as the league leaders, 74.1%, 72.4 for McNamara, 62.5% for Lamb, the least. Points scored goes the way of Wigan, 806. Then Catalan again with Lee third on that. Points conceded, least by Wigan, then Catalan. So at this point in it, Lammy's not doing very well. Hold your horses, Steph. Hold your horses. I can feel the blood pressure boiling down in Lee as we speak. So if we stop the analysis there, Pete's a shoo-in. He's a shoo-in. We then move on. 2022. Matt Pete has improved Wigan by 1 place in Super League. 1 place. McNamara has improved Catalan by 2, and don't get me wrong, we didn't fancy them at all.
No, they had a surprise package.
We fancied Wigan, and I'm going to say something controversial at the end of this, but we fancied Wigan at the start of the season. We didn't fancy Catalan. Catalan finished second, fair play. Adrian Lamb was in the Championship last season and made playoff rugby league. Unbelievable. Of course, both McNamara and Pete are in the final. Elimination playoff was all that was where Lee ended up. But look at the grand final odds. Lee were 50-1 at the start of the season, made the playoffs. Pete 10-3, McNamara 10-1. Then you look at the Challenge Cup. McNamara out to Warrington in round 6. Semi-final for Peter, winning Lee Leopards. 25-1 were their odds to win that start of the season. Look at the odds for Wigan, 92, 6-1. This is the controversy bit. Matt Pete, as good as Wigan have been, has done what was expected. Adrian Lamb, with, at the start of the season, a team where a lot of people, me included, journeymen, has-beens were being talked about, could they gel, were they there for the right reasons, has shown man management on an incredible scale. For me, it has to be Lamb. Has to be Lamb. But again, it wouldn't surprise me if Matt Pete got it. Over to you, Greg.
I agree with you 100%, Dave. It has to be Adrian Lamb who wins it. McNamara, you can argue, has exceeded expectations. We expected maybe Catalan not to finish in the top 6. But I'm keeping it short and sweet. I think Matty Pete will win it because I think it'll be based on Super League record rather than the whole season. But it'll be an absolute crime if Adrian Lamb doesn't get the award. An absolute crime. And again, I said the word integrity a few minutes ago, talking about Kenny Edwards' comments. I think if there's any integrity to how this is decided, then Adrian Lamb will win it.
Well, this one, I believe, is done on coaches. And I have to say, I'd be very surprised if the coaches of Super League have not marvelled in what Lamb has achieved this year.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If the integrity's there, then Lamb wins it.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. A lot of people, mate, in agreement with us on the chat. So
it has. I like to say, I'm with you. I think Matty Pete will win it because that's the way of these things.
Yeah.
But it should be Adrian Lambs all day long.
Well, we'll keep an eye out for that, and of course, we'll talk about that next week as part of the wrap-up show. God, the wrap-up show, dearie me, hey. Oh.
He doesn't see 5 minutes since January, does it?
It doesn't. Well, it does for me. Anyway, Man of Steel nominations. Tom Johnson, Jack Wellsby, Bevan French. Again, different positions. Before we go into the analysis of all three, again, very, very difficult because of them being in different positions. Really surprised that Tom Johnston made the three-man shortlist for this.
Yeah. I thought Lachlan Lamb might have been in there. I really did. Thought, maybe Asiata might have made it in there. George Williams seemed to have been leading this for quite some time, and then I don't think the results were published for quite a long time. George Williams doesn't deserve it this season.
No, he doesn't. No,
but I thought Asiata might be in there. Paul Vaughan, I thought had a chance of being in the nominations.
Yeah, I think the problem for Vaughan was because Warrington were on a losing streak. I'm presuming he was picking up ones and twos as opposed to threes, because the threes and twos would have gone to the winning team. I think where Lee are concerned, I think they've been bit by the fact that there has been Ipape, Asiata, Amone, Lamb. There's a plethora of players there. What a great word, plethora. There's a plethora of players. Great word on a Tuesday night. A plethora of players that play for Lee that would have been picking up threes, twos, ones. And I think overall, where this is concerned, that's probably meant that they've all cancelled each other out, which is such a shame. Because I think one of them players probably deserve a mention. Yeah,
I mean, we've said it ourselves this season. There are times when Jack Wellsby's got 3 points for bringing the water on. It's
that's harsh.
But it is. I mean, we were joking the other week. I think it was a Sky game or a Channel 4 game, and we said, we may as well give it Jack Wellsby before kickoff because he'll get it at the end, no matter how he plays. And he did. It's just lazy, get lazy. But
Right, let's go through it then. So in terms of games, you've got to give credit to French and Wellsby, all 27 rounds of the regular season, of course, plus the games that have gone since then. Johnston, of course, 26, just missing the one. Tries, incredible. And we were talking before we came on air, the one pitch we will give Johnston is that whilst he was at Wakefield, he had terrible injury problems. And this season, because he's been injury-free, he's shown what a quality international winger he is. 27 tries. They've been in the air. They've been distance, side steps. Oh, mate, there's been, I think we might probably do that over the course of the winter just to keep the Rugby League Fair coming on the YouTube channel. We might actually go and publish all the tries from the leading try scorers in separate videos. And the Johnston one will just be, whereas I think, possibly the likes of Charlie are very similar. Most of Charlie's are in the corner or thereabouts. He's had a couple of, I think he's had a couple of length of fielders, or they might have been assists.
He's had a couple of interceptions, I think, as well, early doors.
Johnston's, wow, in terms of his tries, incredible. French 17, good effort, and 12 from Wellsby. Then we come into the assists. You wouldn't expect Johnston to do one in this, 30 assists in the regular season. And I have to put a note there. That's in the regular season. Lamb has, so he got a couple at the weekend. I think he's up to 32 now. Pretty certain he's up to 32 now, Bevan French. And 27 for Wellsby. Tackle busts, very, very close. Very close. Clean breaks, good numbers across the piece. You'd expect, because of where French plays more centrally and in the mixer, 250 for him as opposed to Johnson on the edges, Wellsby at fullback. Errors, again, very tight. Carries, more for Wellsby, 513. He likes.
You'd expect that at fullback. You'd expect more carries at fullback, though.
Yeah, but his meters is pretty low there, 5.53. I mean, compared to other fullbacks, that's pretty low. I have to say, but the other two, I mean, again, Johnston, a couple of length of the fielders, doesn't over the course of the season, 3,375, and then French. Johnson, surprising. but I think justified based on what I said around injuries and, really.
Good to see. Good to see
Yeah.
a try scorer being up there. Yeah.
And we know because Catalan, haven't you've got Garcia polls quite high at times, so does Tompkins, Johnston obviously with his tries. Again, we're picking three out there. Kieran has had a good season.
Adam Kieran's had a great season. Yeah.
But Johnston, for me, it's no surprise. He will have picked up a lot of points based on his try scoring. And we've shown last week that a lot of them have come over a series of games as opposed in terms of bunches. I think he's only had about 3 hat-tricks in there, maybe 2. So he will have polled high. But for me, and then over to you, and you can have a chat around it, pal. For me, I fear Wellesby's going to get it because I think, and you talked in the coaches of maybe they won't look at the Challenge Cup, but where Lamb's concerned, but Lamb was still Championship and 5th this year. So but the memory of Wellesby winning the World Club Championship looms large.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I would say French.
I like Bevan French. I think he's a great player.
Yeah.
I think in French and Field, they have got real quality genuine match winners.
Yeah.
Is Wellesby a genuine match winner in that team?
Just hold there for a second, mate. Dale Robb's asked the question, who picks nominees for this one? Dale, there is a match review committee after every game that scores points 1, 2 and 3 in the game. So for every game, he's supposed to bring consistency in to the nominations. And then, of course, the player who gets the most points in that system at the end of the season gets voted man of steel. So I just wanted to answer that whilst we're on it. Back to you, mate. Crack on.
Yeah, French and Field are genuine match winners who can turn a game on its head. I'm not sure Wellesby's that type of player. He's solid. He can be spectacular. Johnston, I genuinely like to see Johnston win it just for a kind of a fresh name, a fresh club on there. But I think Wellesby will get it. Personally, I'd like French.
Yeah, I would.
But Wellesby, I think Wellesby will be, as I call it, the Tompkins effect. Wellesby will be the one that gets it.
What we found, and I found this a lot, you found it a lot because, of course, we manage the YouTube, the Facebook page in terms of comments.
Yeah.
Very few people can take off their tainted glasses. Very few. Very few. I like to think that I can. And, I'd like to think there's other rugby league fans out there who can. And I think if you went to if you went to people who have the ability to do that, to not see the team colours, to not see rivalries in conversations. If we spoke to a circle of those fans and said, who's been the best player in Super League in 2023? I think that group of people would probably say either Bevan French or Lachlan Lamb. I think those two players, with French, for me, probably polling the highest.
Yeah. I think Lachlan Lamb has been really, really unlucky.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think, and I think we were talking to Martin Sadler about this. Man of Steel to me shouldn't be who's the most spectacular. It's the player that embodies rugby league, like an Amoni, like a Paul Vaughan, like a Bachelor who put the hard yards in the graft. The tackles are there where the chips are down and dragging a team out the mud. That's my Man of Steel.
Yeah,
and they tend to go too much for the spectacular, for the match winners, for the hat-trick scorers. Man of Steel should be the archetypal rugby league player, as far as I'm concerned. But I can't see that changing anytime soon.
No, neither can I, unfortunately. But there you go. Steph says in the chat that Lamb did get the Writers' Award, so fair play to him there. Dawn, I think it's French. If he'd have stayed on the wing or even fullback, we won't be discussing him. I agree. We said that last week, Dawn. You were here, mate, when we were talking about that.
Yeah,
he's been outstanding at standoff. Absolutely outstanding. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that was good. Enjoyed that, mate. Good chat. We'll see if we're right or we'll see if we're wrong. Right. We're now going to have a look at the Saints Catalan game. But before we do, a certain Mr. Man of Steel, Jamie Peacock, paid his tribute to the retiring James Roby, and this is what he had to say.
Well, when he first came through, I played in a playoff game against us, and Mozza had signed for us, Adrian Morley, and Robes come on, and he tried to squeeze himself through a gap where Mozza was. Mozza absolutely creamed him, but Robes kept coming, and I thought, well, because you've got to imagine back then, Robes, I reckon he weighed about 10 stone wet through when he first came through.
Roby, will this young man have an influence on this playoff?
And I thought, do you know what, there's a tough kid inside there, he's got a chance of making it. And then you just saw him blossom over the next couple of years, you know, under the stewardship of Kieran Cunningham, and you just saw him to develop into, you know, one of the best players in the competition. In fact, one of the best players in the world, one of the best players England or Great Britain has seen. So yeah, outstanding. For me, what makes him so outstanding is that he doesn't bow down to fatigue, doesn't make errors down to fatigue. In fact, it brings the best out of him. And that's what makes him truly outstanding as a player. I think as a player, people will look back on him 30, 40, 50 years' time and say, what a player he was. He was a diamond, you know, like you look back on the true greats, like for me, like an Ellery Hanley, people like that. You look back on these greats and just think, what an absolute player he was.
High praise indeed there from Jamie Peacock, of course. Great player in his own right, Jamie Peacock, and nice, very nice words. And I think he's right, you know, where Roby's concerned.
I was thinking about Roby. You know, great teams have got a backbone of players who've been there a while. Saints have been so successful because of players like Roby. The Wigan of the 80s and early 90s had a spine of players who were ever present. And I think that's what a lot of teams in Super League lack. They don't have that one or two players who've been there forever, like Roby. You know, and I think there's a lot to be said for that, having somebody like that at a club who has been there from being young and gone through to retirement. You know, the golden generation at Leeds, Sinfield and Burrows and Maguire, they had teams that kind of bled for the club, if you like. And I think that's why we've only ever had maybe 4 winners of the Super League in total, because those clubs that win it have had players that have seen their entire career or most of their career at those clubs, maybe.
Great point, mate. And I think, you know, comparisons there with Leeds, you know, that when the likes of Sinfield and then, of course, the Burrows and the Maguires went later down, the Jamie Jones, Buchanan's, etc. We've seen what's happened, the vacuum at Leeds. There's a massive challenge in here for Wellens. I think Wellens has got very undue criticism this year in some quarters. I really do. I think that, you know, at one point it looked as if he was going to struggle. He galvanised them. He got them into the semi-final. And let's be fair, other than that stroke of genius, which we're going to see in a minute, they might have been going for the 5th. But your point there as well made, 2 massive, massive figureheads in Roby and Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook are coming out of that dressing room.
Yeah.
Walmsley is at the back end of his career.
Johnny Lomax.
I think is he still 32, 33? So probably in the next 2, maybe 3 years, we're talking the likes of Walmsley. We're talking the likes of Lomax are going to be leaving.
Tommy Makinson.
Tommy Mack. You know, so you look at it now, and it really is shining a light on Wellesby. If Wellesby was to go to the NRL, one, he's got to take the mantle on. Maybe he'll fancy that, and I think he'll get big money at Saints as well, because I think they'll throw a lot of money at Wellesby.
Well, he's the next James Roby. Jack Wellesby
has to be
that central figure now that Roby's been for however many years. That now falls on Jack Wellesby over the next few years, and it's up to him. He could go and play his trade in the NRL, and I think he'd do really well. But
yes, I agree. Right, let's get into this semi-final, mate. Let's get into this semi-final. So these were the teams, and we've been saying pretty much that, you know, Saints were getting themselves back to as full strength as possible. A lot of people saying that Walmsley should have started this one, you know, over maybe LMS, maybe that they didn't get on the front foot as much as they should have done. That Dragons team probably, unless Mitchell Pearce isn't fit, we'll get onto that as we do the grand final build-up later in the show. But that looks like the grand final team. Tiki Aho as well might have picked up or not. Whether he's going to be in the squad or not, I don't know. But on paper, 2 great sides. We're going to go at it. And they went at it, and we were treated, mate, to a great game of rugby league.
It was a war of attrition.
Yeah.
Absolute war of attrition.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah. I mean, I actually sent because I can't remember which game you were on on silence for because you were out and about. But I remember
It was this one. It was this one.
I think I might have sent you the same message. When Kieran went for the second conversion to bring it to 6-4, I was, what is he doing? What are they doing? I just didn't quite. I mean, what did I know in the end? I said that on In the Shed's fair play to him. But what we saw here, for me, from the Catalan Dragons, was a maturing Catalan Dragons, because they played this game, dare I say it, in the same vein as I believe a Kevin Sinfield would have played it. Take the points, play the clock.
It's how the NRL teams play it.
Yeah.
You keep the scoreboard ticking over.
Yeah, absolutely. And they did a great job.
All the time.
Yeah, brilliant job, outstanding, and of course it proved to be the right decision on the night. I mean, again, a lot of people saying that, again, in the chats on top. I mean, it just goes to show how bonkers social media is. I thought this was a brilliant game of rugby league. I couldn't keep my eyes off it. Right, here we go.
Go on. I've just been keeping my eye on.
Here we go. Here it comes. Right. This is a nonsense. It's an absolute nonsense. Every rugby league fan known to, in fact, you don't have to be a rugby league fan, that's a swinging arm.
Yeah, that's a red card.
Head. It's at the very least a yellow.
It's a red card. By the letter of the law, that is a red card.
We're 28 minutes into the game, and I'm going to call it. The refs bottled it. The video refs bottled it. Because the match review panel has actually given Matautia a 2-match ban for that. Now, how can we have video technology that clearly shows that a swinging arm, and the on-field officials are not going to give that?
I think there's your answer there in that screenshot there. The referee
not good enough.
No, he's not, and he's not.
So why hasn't he been stood down?
He's not helping himself with decisions like that. And I think the commentary was on Sky that semi-finals are refereed differently. Why?
Rubbish.
Why?
Then, mate,
exactly. Why?
Mate, if that was in the NRL, Chris Kendall is not video ref on Saturday.
No. He's nowhere near that grand final.
He stood down, mate. He stood down. Because that has to be given. And if Saints had gone on to win this...
And that's another card as well.
If Saints had gone on to win this, though, everybody would have been saying they won it by default because Matautia should have been sent off. Fortunately, that didn't happen, and we don't have to talk about that. But we've got video refs coming in next year, mate. They've got to be better than this. Because what we're seeing is Vaughan getting 4 games, Lamb getting a couple of games, or not getting games for the same offence. We're seeing all over the place. And then you're seeing absolute nailed-on swinging arms like that, going unpunished on the field, games. And then getting 2 games after the event. And
so you can call somebody a nasty name, and all right, bang out of order as Maguire was. You call somebody a nasty name, you get a career-ending ban, basically.
Yeah.
You take somebody's head off, you get 2 games.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, I'm not being funny, but
you grab somebody's shirt to help them up, and you get 4 games.
I thought Halloween was on the 30th. I thought Scares and Halloween was on the 30th of October. But Tommy Makinson here, he's auditioning for his trick or treating. I mean, look at Tommy here. It's like Michael Myers. He's seen Michael Myers for the first time. Watch out, Tommy, in a minute. Look at this. No! Oh dear. I mean, it's like, let's see that again. Tommy, lad, what are you doing, son?
It's Rose off Titanic when Leonardo sinks to the depths.
Oh, mate. Yeah, hold on, Chris. Hold on. I'll never let go.
This is an Oscar winner.
Oh, no. Unbelievable. He's not happy there, Tommy.
And the Oscar goes to Tommy Makin.
There goes your season ticket, Chris. Hey, unbelievable. But no, look, all in good fun. This had to be given. Again, lying on all day long. No issues with that whatsoever. But yeah, I mean, for me, mate, the match review panel this season has left a lot to be desired.
It needs to take a long, hard look at itself.
If Kenny Edwards is spot on, here it comes.
It's magical.
Mate, he's got one leg. Leg. Incredible.
It had to be Tompkins. It had to be Tompkins.
That whole thing is the rugby league equivalent of Ryan Giggs against Arsenal in the semi-final. That's what that try is. It's the rugby league equivalent. Off he goes. I mean, the defence. I mean, it's interesting here because I think Wellesby thinks Sirenen's going to do him. Because
Sirenen went too high.
Yeah, but if you look at Wellesby on this, I think he almost thinks Sirenen will get him because they just look at he's so stationary, and once he goes, he's gone. Yeah, he's gone, and Doddy as well. I mean, incredible.
If Walmsley had been onside, he'd have stopped him. But as usual, he's 3 yards in front of the ref.
Mate, it was an incredible moment. It really was. It was. It's one of those moments that's, you know, in a season that has been defined by so many highlights.
Poor from Walmsley. Just a grab of the shirt was, for a player of his quality, that was so poor.
Well,
I hope he's not watching, because I'll be too far to leave the house tomorrow morning.
I would rather us just pay tribute to a player that, again, he's retiring. Retiring at the end of the season. We know he's got one leg. Luckily, I think he said it tongue in cheek at the end of the game. Fortunately, it was on his right leg. but what a try! And you know, like I say, in a season of massive. I mean, we saw the 6 tries of the season that we selected. That had to be one of them. You know, there's other ones as well. I mean, we had a massive 5 minute try of the season montage last week. We've had tries that have been incredible all year. But
well, why was that? That was disallowed for a push, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was, to be fair. He did push it. I've got no issue with that. But I just thought this was a really, really good game of rugby league. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't quite get why people at times
maybe because Catalan won.
Yeah, but why people diss a game of attrition, as you rightly said? I don't get.
It was a classic
fascinating game. Fascinating.
Classic game.
If we get
classic game.
And quite frankly, we'll get to the preview of the final in a minute. That's the type of game Catalan need again come Saturday. They need a tough arm wrestle game, because otherwise it could be very ugly indeed. Right, so congratulations to Catalan. Commiserations to St. Helens. I said it on In the Sheds. Your 4-year tenure as Super League champions has come to an end, but let's not forget that is an incredible feat in any sport to achieve. You know, so congratulations to Saints. Good effort. But alas, there will be a new name on the trophy.
No, there won't. No, there won't. If Wigan win it, there won't be.
Yeah, but you know,
it'll be the first new name for 4 years.
Correct, or a new name on the trophy. Right. Okay. Let's finish our little voice tribute to James Roby. We're going to go out with the final tribute to Roby, and probably one of the most revered, most respected men in the game today. He weighed in on James Roby's career, the one, the only, Sir Kevin Sinfield.
Do you know, people think I'm disappointed, but I'm not. Records are there to be broken, and I can't think of anyone better. And if someone's going to beat it, you know, he'd be number one.
There's Roby! And Roby scores for St Helens.
Wonderful human being, one of Super League's best ever. Just what a player.
Great defence, Roby and Graham.
They just had a team full of superstars, and you know, James Graham came on the scene, Robes came on the scene, and they just fitted in seamlessly. Especially Robes, like he could play anywhere. Like, you wouldn't want to play him at prop, but he'd do a job there for you, and he'd just keep going. And you know, one of the toughest players I played with and against. He will come up with flash moments. He's got that in his game, but he just Mr. Consistent. He just delivers, and he just keeps delivering. And you know, I don't think I've seen him have less than a 9 out of 10 game. He's had a wonderful career, and when you've got guys like that who can cover the ground like he can as well, he's probably been the fittest in that St Helens team ever since he joined that dressing room, and he still will be today. To have guys like that in your team who will just run the blood to water for you. There's not many of them around, and he's a special guy. You had to be on every single play. With Robes, you couldn't have a play off, because if you decided to do that at marker, he'd burn you. If you shot out the line, he'd throw a dummy and go through. Yeah, just defensively. Like, nobody got any change out of him. He'd probably be 90 kilos his whole career. And he's got guys at 115, 120 kilos who get a rest, by the way, who go and sit on the bench for 20 minutes, then come back on, and go off again and come back on, and he still picks him up and puts him on the back. So, yeah, he's been an outstanding. I don't know whether there'll be another one. He's a special guy.
High praise indeed from the one, the only Kevin Sinfield.
Indeed.
Now, we get a lot of pelters from our friends at St Helens. We have given your man a fitting send-off tonight. So never let it be said that we don't know a good rugby league player when we see, for me to say, league player when we see one. We have given Mr. Roby his due tonight, and rightly so.
And rightly so. I agree 100%.
And it's not quite over yet, but it is. Not quite over yet, but it is. You'll see what I mean at the end of the show. But James Roby, we salute you. We wish you nothing but health and happiness in your retirement. And who knows? Could be coming to a company near you, because by all accounts, he's going to become a leadership, strong, motivational speaker. So that'll be interesting.
Right. It'd be interesting if he decided to be a coach. That would be an interesting step.
He seems to have gone. No, he's not injured. Anyway, right. Okay. We now go to the second semi-final. We won't dwell on this one too much for the pure reason. Let's be honest. It was a disappointing way for KR to bow out. It really, really was. I felt for them. I felt for the 5,000 travelling fans that went over. Wigan, again, just take a quick look at that starting lineup, because when we do the preview in a minute, we are basing it on the semi-final squads. I think both sides are going to be very, very similar, maybe a couple of changes, but we'll talk about that in the preview piece in a minute. But that's probably going to be thereabouts the Warriors side that go up against the Catalan Dragons. And again, like we said, no excuses can be given from a KR team. That was as strong as it could have got really for them on the day. And quite frankly, Greg,
they don't come much bigger than this.
That has been getting better and better and better, steamrolled them.
They've timed the run to perfection, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I said last week this was either going to be a very, very, very close game, or Wigan were going to steamroller it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Wigan steamrolled it. Well, not unfortunately. As for a neutral, unfortunately, let's say Wigan steam. I would have loved this to have been a real close game like the Saints Catalan game, but KR never really got over that early blitz from Wigan.
No, they didn't, mate. They didn't.
A perfect game.
To be
for
fair,
Wigan.
when Minchella, and again, delighted that Minchella went in. Minchella's try, give him half a chance at half time, but Wigan came out second half. I think.
Well, this is what I didn't like. The referee wasn't going to give that, and then French said, "Oh, it's a try," and he went, "Oh, all right, I'll have a look at it." No.
Well, we don't have a captain, and again, this is the absolute captain's challenge, isn't it? I mean, it really is, and this is why it's got to come in next season. We've got the video.
If the referee's made his mind up, a referee speaking to him, a player speaking to him, shouldn't change that referee's mind.
No, but this is where, for me, again, like in Australia, where the bunker comes in. We've got the technology. Referee can give no try, but the bunker then needs to be on. No, actually, call time off.
Take another look. Yeah,
we're reviewing this.
Yeah,
no issues with this. Obviously, we've been talking all about Miskey since the midway point of the season, and then in comes Liam Marshall with an hat-trick.
He finished off really, really well. Just
class. Start of the season, mate, it was Marshall, not Miskey, that was the one that was up there challenging the likes of
Tony Thornley was in there as well at some point earlier in the season. Not Tony Thornley. He played for Warrington in the 90s. Thornley was in there, wasn't he, for
Ian
some part
Thornley,
of the season? Yeah.
Yeah, Ian Thornley, yeah. I mean, Chella took that well. That was a good try. It was as good as he got. It was as good as he got for him, wasn't it? God.
I know it's a cliche, but they really needed to score again straight after that, and they just couldn't do it.
No, I mean, look at that. That's just pinpoint. Shades of Williams and Fewless earlier in the season. Just, absolute, knew where Marshall was. This is why
instinctive play.
Yeah, absolutely. A great try, a great finish from Marshall, and like I say, 5,000 OKR fans, and again, tribute was made on the TV. They stayed till the end, and rightly so. Their team deserved to have been applauded off the field. We haven't seen much of this from Wigan too much this season, but there's the second crossfield ball, that time from Harry Smith for Toby King. Because I think Toby King's game has come on since he left Warrington. But I mean, that pretty much was Toby King, wasn't it? But I think his defence has got better. I think his all-round game has improved. But yeah, I mean, I've not seen too much of that this season. These kicks over the top from Wigan, but they utilised it really well on Saturday.
Well, they used King to his strengths, and apparently the fallout was the fact that he wasn't allowed to take his dog to train at Warrington. Well, he won't be taking his dog. He might be taking a grand final winning ring. The way he's going. I know,
Yeah.
I know which I'd rather take to training.
and the mad thing is, we talked about Miskey we've been talking about Miskey, and then Marshall pops up. And it's the same with French and Field. I mean, French had a good game, don't get me wrong, but this was the game where Field broke the line and got the tries.
Yeah.
They just got strike everywhere.
Yeah. It's it clicked. They clicked in this game, Wigan. We can say that OKR didn't turn up all we like. Wigan didn't allow them. They clicked, and that was almost a perfect performance.
You've got
Wigan.
to pay tribute. You have to pay tribute to the Wigan Warriors. The way Wigan have played this season, absolutely outstanding.
I called it early doors. I knew that they'd finish. I think I called them for the grand final as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Do you know what? I can't remember if we actually went as far. I know we picked the. Do you know what? I'd have to go all the way back to that first show, mate, because I didn't make a note of it if we did. So I'm not quite sure which way we went. But yeah, you might be right. You might be right on that one. I can't recall. But
It's of no consequence.
No,
Catalan might win it.
Yeah, look, mate.
Fair play to the KR fans. That as crushingly disappointment as that performance and that result was.
Yeah,
they stayed to the end, and they can be proud of that. And I think that, well, I hope rather than think that they will kick on next season.
Absolutely. Well, mate, with the signings, mate, I think we mentioned it earlier, Whitbread, mate, and Hiku and. Oh God, the list is as long as your arm. They have made some really solid improvements for that squad next season. Don't you worry, OKR fans. Do not worry. I think they will be looking to go one better next year. And I'm telling you now, when we do the review show, we may be.
It's going to be a tough one
over winter. It's going to.
Tell you what, next season is going
to be very tough. Very tough to call.
Do we have to?
Yeah. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. I mean, Dawn, you're right. Kingy did want to stay at Wigan, but unfortunately, he's been recalled to Warrington. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. You've got a good replacement in Kieran, but you're spot on. He did want to stay, and they wanted to keep him as well. But Warrington, because the salary cap had brought him back, let's hope they can replicate his form for Wigan at Warrington. Even Dawn, great to see that. Dawn was sad for KR in the way that the game panned out. Good sportsmanship, that Dawn. We like that. Well done.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the way we went. I went Catalan. You were the only one that went Saints, mate. You said it was going to be Saints. We went Catalan. We all got 2 points. But then I went KR. You went Wigan. You got your 2 points there. The fans forum got 2 points, and of course, Mr. Schofield got 2 points, which basically means he goes into the final. One ahead of me. He's actually took me back over because of that Wigan result, and he's already put his marker down for 9-17 Wigan, which means I've got to have a different marker than his. So yeah, interesting, absolutely interesting, but we'll come back to that in a minute. Right, guys, so what we're going to do now is we're going to preview the final. We are going to put this out as a separate show as well as Super League Raw Weekly. So of course you're watching Super League Raw Weekly. We will put Super League Raw Weekly out in full on our YouTube channel for tomorrow morning, but we will then also put out this segment as a grand final build-up as a separate segment. So just bear with us. Stay with me, Reg. So just bear with us. So what we're going to do is we're going to almost start the show again. So just, like I say, bear with us so that we can get this bit right. So are we ready, Reggie?
Oh,
Here we go. This is the Super League Raw build-up to the grand final. Here we go. So, welcome along to the grand final preview for 2023 as the Wigan Warriors go up against the Catalan Dragons for the glory at Old Trafford. In a few moments' time, myself and Greg are going to be discussing this game in great detail. But before we do, well, let's start to get a little bit excited, should we?
Field is going to try and weave his way through. He will! Oh my God! Pass from Miskey! 28th try of the season!
The Super League Grand Final 2023. Welcome along to this special preview show. Greg, with me for this one, game of the week. Well, there's only one game, so it had to be this one. It is game of the week. It's the Wigan Warriors against the Catalan Dragons. And I don't know about you, Greg, but I've got goosebumps already. I can't wait to get to Manchester.
I'm looking forward
for
to this.
one.
I really am. Really looking forward to this game. And it's great to have a different team in there.
Absolutely.
And,
yeah, well,
it's, do you know what? It's great to have the top two. That's how it should be.
Indeed, we'll come to that. But actually, 2 years out of the last three, Catalan Dragons are there. So you've got to give credit to Steve McNamara and the team. What we're going to do in a few moments' time, guys, is we're going to be going right the way through these two squads. And me and Greg are going to try and make a bit of sense as to how this game could go and where the key battles are and how it could all shape out. But before we do that, of course, come Saturday, this will be the fourth time this season Wigan and Catalan have gone head-to-head, and it would be amiss of us not to relive the first three games. So now, here's a special edition of The Last Battles. So there we go, the last battles, and different games all the way. Really tight affair at the start of the season at the DW Stadium, of course, when Catalan were in absolutely fantastic form. If you remember, Greg, 5 wins on the spin for the Catalan Dragons in that period of time. A really tough match, that one. Of course, not Ekibalu, sorry, Manu Mao, 2 tries on that evening. Really bad conditions at the DW. And then 2 blowouts.
Remember that, the snow and it was cold, wasn't it? It was freezing.
It was cold. It was a tough game. And then, of course, the 2 blowouts, that's, we're going to get into the detail in a minute. Catalan absolutely steamrolled them at Magic. Absolutely steamrolled them.
One of the greatest performances by a Catalan team I think I've seen.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting the way. So it's interesting the way Catalan season went, because of course they had those 5 on the spin, and then they went off the boil because I think in the next 5 they lost 4 and won only 1. And then they went up against, and then they had a little run in the middle of the season that really put them on everybody's radar again. They went to St. Helens on May the 5th and won 24 points to 12. They then beat Castleford and Wakey before that game at Magic, where they beat Wigan 46-22. And let's be fair, they gifted Wigan some tries at the end of that game. It should have been a far bigger margin than that. They then went the week after that to Hull KR and beat them 38-4, and then they went to Lee Leopards and beat them 38-30. That little run of games in the middle of the season for me made us all stand up and take note and go, hang on a minute, Catalan are in this. They mean business.
And I think I think going out the Challenge Cup helped them as well. I know they'd probably liked a good cup run, but I think going out the Challenge Cup really helped them.
Yeah,
because he kind of galvanised after that point and put a string of good results together, including the Magic Weekend, which was I don't think anybody could have predicted that.
No, and of course the danger for Catalan is the fact that Wigan's good run has come right at the end of the campaign because now they're on a 10-game winning streak going into the final, and you look at the way they played in that 10-game winning streak. I mean, there's a few that you can discount, the 64-6 KR when they were playing a KR team that was. But again, you talk about defining moments. We've just talked about when Catalan, that Wigan, OKR lead section, when Wigan went to Catalan and beat them 34-0 in their own backyard. That, for me, was a statement result. And from there, they haven't looked back. They beat Salford 26-8. They beat Leeds Rhinos 50 points to 0. Then they beat Cast. They expected them to beat Cast. And then a really good, tight affair at League 10-6. That was a belting game. Of course, the controversy game where the obstruction and all that lot. But yeah, I mean, Wigan timed it absolutely superbly well, haven't they, at the moment?
Well, Wigan have done what most grand final winners have done over the past however many years. They've hit form at the right time. Yeah. Some have done that to qualify in the top 6 and then go on to win it. Others have done it to finish top to go and win it. And they have hit form just at the right time. I think Wigan they've strung it together. They're strong. They look strong. They've got no suspensions. I don't think they've got many injury doubts. I think that they are going to go into that game full of confidence.
Well, Steph's disappointed because of sinned, talking about that 10-6 against Lee, but we'll move on. We will move on. Right, okay. I will guide you through this one, Greg. Here we go. Let's start looking through the team. Like I say, I think we can take a bit of a guide from what happened in the... what's that one? I can't remember that. Oh, yes. We'll start here from those semi-final squads. But yeah, head-to-head, you mentioned it a few moments ago. First against second. Look at the aggregate score. 66-64 is the aggregate score across those 3 games. Unbelievable. Well, we would take a 2-pointer all day long.
I tell you what, if it's 66-64 on Saturday, we've got our money's worth.
Mate, you'll be wheeling me out. I'll be going Manchester Royal. Mate, unbelievable. 66-64. That's how tight this is. 2 big blowouts, but very, very close. The bookies see this as a Wigan win 4-7, 6-4 Catalan Dragons. And I think based on League Leaders Shield and the form that we've just talked about, no real surprises there.
No.
Right, let's go through the squads. Now, the chances are it will be Sam Tompkins at fullback. Maybe, maybe not, but we'll go with it for the time being. And in this area, Tompkins is not the fullback he once was. He tends to lay the ball off for Johnston and for Davies to do the hard meters out of backfield. He's more, and he plays more as a third half, really, in attacking transitions. Whereas Field is playing predominantly a bread and butter fullback role for Wigan Warriors. And it's a complete mismatch. I mean, those stats say it all. As Tompkins shown on Friday, he's got that bit of genius still in him. But Field takes this battle for me. Without doubt.
Well, by a country mile.
Yeah.
By a country mile. I can't help thinking that this might just be a game too far for Sam. That's the kind of, that's a gut feeling I have.
We know what you're like with gut feelings, mate. We know what you're like. So
Catalan 46-0.
Steady. Right, we'll get to predictions later. Right, we've got more to do before we get to that. So yeah, I think it's advantage Field. However, big talk. We saw McNamara at the end of the game on Friday. A good point that actually somebody just mentioned there in terms of Dawn Baker saying, look at the error count, 12-31 in the favour of Tompkins. Spot on, Dawn. Great eye, fantastic. You're spot on there.
But the thing with that is not many high. Tompkins doesn't get under many high kicks.
Well, I think
it's usually Johnston that comes in from the wing to take the high kicks.
I think for me, Field is busier, and I think the fact that he's busier means
and it'd be interesting to see where they are. I think Field probably makes the errors further upfield and in the middle rather than Tompkins as well.
Yeah. But I mean,
but it's a damn good point.
Mate, Tompkins there, 20 games, only 12 errors. It's a great effort and showing his quality. However, Mitchell Pearce, big doubts. I mean, Mitchell Pearce supposedly played carrying knocks on Friday. Does he play Saturday? This is a big call for Steve McNamara, because for me, if Mitchell Pearce is not 100% fit, there is a massive argument Sam Tompkins into halfback and to bring this man in, Arthur Morg, at fullback. We've talked about all season. And when you look at Morg as a fullback is more dangerous than Sam Tompkins. Tompkins, we know he's got that bit of genius in him still. He's still got that. We saw it on Friday. If he's in the halves, maybe that's a better position for him to show that bit of spark.
Maybe.
Whereas if you look at Morg there and compare Morg to Field still has Morg's number. But look at the tackle busts and look at the clean breaks versus Sam Tompkins. Comparing and contrasting Tompkins to Morg. Morg has had 3 tries more this season. Tompkins has made 4 more. Tackle busts, Morg has made 38 more tackle breaks. He's made 8 more clean breaks because he's got the legs to do it. And the consequence of that is he's made 935 more meters than Sam Tompkins in 2023. So if Pearce is injured, it's not the end of the world, because for me, that gives McNamara the opportunity and maybe me pushing Sam up. And we saw what Morg did to St. Helens in Perpignan early in the season when he played.
I don't need to tell anybody I'm a massive fan of Arthur Morg. A massive fan of him. I think he's the player that Catalan build their team around for the next 10 years. He's an absolutely wonderful player. And that could very well be, if that's the case, that could be the masterstroke that McNamara.
It could be a forced masterstroke.
It could be forced, but we never know. I mean, I think I would start with Arthur Morg.
It's a big call, isn't it? I think if Mitchell, I think if Mitchell Pearce is fully fit because of his pedigree, because of where he's been. I mean, this is a big game.
It's
I think
a massive game.
You play Mitchell Pearce, you play Sam Tompkins, you put your big game players in there. Of course you do. If Mitchell Pearce is not 100% fit, going up against the Wigan Warriors side that we've already said, we've not even done the full analysis yet, he's running white hot. For me, you've got to put Morg at fullback. You just have to.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes playing your most experienced players, at 75% fit backfires on you, because the opposition has worked out a plan for them anyway. You throw a spanner in the works and put something like Arthur Morgan that they've not planned for.
Yeah.
Sometimes that can be the stroke of genius that wins you the cup. Our coach is McNamara brave enough to do that?
Well, what I would say is that at the end of the way Mitchell Pearce has got to look at it, Sam Tompkins, rugby league isn't fairy tales. Rugby league is about medals. And yes, of course, Mitchell Pearce will want to go out because, of course, he's retiring at the end of the season with a game at Old Trafford. But if he's not 100% fit, for me personally, it could be Arthur Morg. Really interesting. However, even if Morg does play, I think it betters them in a term of a fullback position. Yeah. But Field takes that one. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We're now going to move forward. We're going to move forward into the 3-quarter battle. And this, for me, is a big headache for Steve McNamara. And this, for me, is where the game could be won for Matt Peat. We know that if Catalan Dragons get on the front foot, they're a match for Wigan. They're a match for anyone. We know that. However, if Matt Peat nullifies the left edge of the attack of Catalan, he will be going some way to winning the grand final. 39 tries have come down the left-hand side of Catalan this season compared to only 20 on the right, Ikevalu and Davis. So if they can nullify the left edge of Catalan, that could be a masterstroke for Pete. The problem McNamara's got is they've got strike right across the pitch, Wigan.
Yeah.
39 tries, 38 on the other. It's that, we said at the start of the season when Wardle and King were put into Wigan, it was the back line to rival the back line of St. Helens. We said that. Yeah. These stats back that up. I mean, as a 3-quarter line, and if you're Matt Peat, could you have hoped to see a balance like that at this point in the season? It's incredible.
Why they finished top.
Absolutely.
It's why they finished top. And probably why Catalan finished second, because they're stronger on one side. Yeah, maybe I don't think that Wigan need to bother about nullifying either side. I think they've got enough strength, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I understand totally what you say. I just think Matty Peat will go into this knowing that if Tom Johnson scores one, then Abasmiski's probably going to score two.
Yeah.
So I think I mean, Wardle has been outstanding. Wardle has been absolutely outstanding this season. For me, one of the best, if not the best centre in the competition.
Well, we put King in last week. We also put Kieran in.
I
think
but looking back on that and reviewing that, he probably has been worthy of his place. But yeah, I hear what you're saying, and if they can do that, then that's that back line is frightening. It's frightening. Field behind that, and then what's in front.
Yeah.
It's scary.
And that's it. It is.
Yeah.
And at the moment, and this is it, isn't it? At the moment, we're not really giving Catalan much of a prayer. It gets better, Catalan Dragons fans out there. It does. Well, I think it does anyway. But yeah, I mean, Matt P, strike right across the pitch. But I do think that left edge, if the left edge of Catalan isn't firing, that could be critical, unless it's a real tight battle like we saw at the DW. Yeah. The bad news for Catalan, I feel, is, well, maybe not actually. It depends. And I'm thinking of the DW game when I say this. The weather looks fine on Saturday, which is great for the neutral. It's great for us because we're going to have a dry final, and I think that's fantastic because it's going to allow us, hopefully, to be truly entertained with some great flowing rugby league. But yeah, it's the pace in that back line of Wigan.
Yeah,
and incredible.
If we'd have played this, if the grand final was in the middle of June when we had that heat wave, I'd have fancied Catalan.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it's going to be a dry game at least.
So at the moment, we're almost saying this is not even a contest, but of course we know that it is. 66-64 is the aggregate score. We've already shown that. So let's start giving Catalan Dragons something to smile about with this. Goal kicking. Goal kicking, for me, could be vital. It is vital in every final. And what we know about these two teams, these tend to score on the edges. Both teams do. These stats actually got better at the weekend because both Harry Smith and Kieran had perfect kicking percentages. Harry Smith has rose to 64.3%, Kieran up to 78.2%. What we saw with Kieran, especially that one to make it 6-6, he's got the temperament to do it in big games. We know that he's got that. Catalan's got that Kevin Sinfield about at the moment. Let's just get the scoreboard ticking over.
Yeah,
Harry Smith, you don't know what. Don't get me wrong. His kicks in general, playing attacking kicks, there's no living with him. His kicking game on the field of play, incredible. Has been all season. But finals can be a lot of the time about just moving that scoreboard along. And at the moment, you don't know which Harry Smith's going to turn up. The one that went 7 from 7 against KR, or the one that can't hit a cow's backside with a banjo. You just don't know which one it's going to be, do you?
No, and that's Wigan. That's been Wigan's problem this season. Harry Smith is a talented player, and I think that's why they brought Kieran in to make sure that, or to take that pressure off Harry Smith. I think, and I'm not no psychologist, and I'm not getting any inside information, but I think it probably played on his mind a lot early doors this season that his goal kicking wasn't brilliant, and the more his goal kicking has improved, the better player he's become this season.
Spot on, mate. Spot on. But here's one for you, mate. And again, when you consider how many points Wigan have scored this season, Harry Smith has missed 52 goals this year. Frightening.
That's 100 points. 100 points. Yeah.
It's frightening. It really is. But yeah, like I said, Catalan fans, don't worry, it gets better. If it's a tight game and it comes down to kicking, the edge, based on form and temperament this season, albeit Harry 7 from 7, but you'd have to give it to Catalan.
Yeah.
You'd have to.
Last minute penalty. I know I'd rather be taking it.
100%.
To win the game.
And the news gets better. The news get better. The men in... Oh, sorry, no, that's next. The news now goes badly again. The news goes a bit bad again at this point. Sorry, Catalan fans. The men in the middle, of course, Harry Smith is one of them. Again, you're talking about that backline field, all that. And then you've got Bevan French to contend with. 21 tries to 7 and 55 assists to 37.
Yeah.
So again, we know that the halfback combination of the Wigan Warriors more potent. Now, Bevan French has had 17 of those 21 tries, and he's made 32, 55 assists. That's how important. Now, here's one for you. And I don't want this to happen, but in a Joel Monaghan kind of way, if French, for whatever reason, didn't finish the game on Saturday, well, that'd be a leveller.
I don't think so, because I think they pushed Jay Field in there.
But he weren't great there.
I think he's still got that X factor.
But then are you going to put fullback?
Depends who's on the bench.
There's nobody on the bench.
I think Wigan are good enough to have probably a flat back five with just somebody filling in. Maybe pull somebody in off the wings.
Dawn's not happy with me. Dawn's not happy with me. Well, but look, injuries happen. Injuries. Well, I'm not saying it's going to be done.
The injuries to Monaghan and Ratchford cost us in our grand final a few years ago.
Exactly. Injuries happen. Injuries happen in a game of rugby league. And what I'm basically saying here is that Bevan French, man of steel, as far as we're concerned, he's massive in this game. If Bevan French is allowed to do what Bevan French can do, then Catalan have got big, big problems. But again, it's a mismatch. The halves of Wigan are going to take Catalan on.
Faster, more skillful. Tyrone May's a great player.
Yeah, well, May, he's got 3 of those 7 tries, and actually May's made 23 of those. He's
got for a big man, he's got deceptive skills. But Bevan French is the man. Bevan French has got Harry Sunderland written all over him.
Yeah, and I want to see him. One of the things as a neutral going to that ground on Saturday, I'm going to have the pleasure of watching Bevan French for 80 minutes. And
I don't want to see injuries to any player in any game.
No, I'm just being mischievous. I'm just being mischievous. But what I'm saying is, it's vitally important.
Yeah,
that French plays the 80 minutes.
Yeah, you're right.
Being mischievous.
That's a good word, mischievous. That's how posh people say it, mischievous.
I'm going to be more mischievous as well, because we're going to finish off the spine. Oh, well, obviously we get to lose forwards in a minute. The Master against the Apprentice. I think Brad O'Donnell
O'Neill
will play. Sorry, Brad O'Neill. Will play. He will start for Wigan. And then Mickey McAlorum. Now, forgive me one and all. Forgive me one and all. I am now going to quote Mr. John Wilkin. I can't believe I'm doing it, but I am. I'm going to quote Mr. John Wilkin.
Well, forgive me if I fall asleep halfway through, sir.
It's a very quick one, though. It really is a very, very quick one.
If it's John Wilkin, it won't be.
No, it is. It's as quick as this. The dark arts. What we know about Mickey McAlorum, is that, let's be honest, now, Mickey, if we're going to take bets for sendings off on Saturday, Mickey would be right up there. But what Mickey McAlorum brings, that for me at the moment, Brad O'Neill doesn't bring. I think O'Neill's going to be a phenomenal player in the long term. I really do. But what McAlorum does in defence and in terms of getting in the face, very Pappy-like, he'll go up against the big lads. He'll niggle them. He'll try and upset them.
Yeah.
It's the Dennis Wise. He's the Dennis Wise.
McAlorum is what the Aussies call a grub. Well, he winds up. He does the little things that hurt players. He is well versed. He is the Voldemort of rugby league. He is that well versed.
Oh, beautiful similes.
Arts.
Loving the similes. But yeah, I mean,
he is the hooker that shall not be named.
But no, to be fair, we know that Mickey Mac will be that type of player come Saturday. And actually, if McAlorum is on his game, maybe not for flair, maybe not for tries, but just for his hard work and graft, could be a game winner in this game. He could be, because he'll force the knock-ons. He'll wind them up so they don't play the balls right. All of that kind of.
And he'll have his hand in there, and
big time.
He'll know when to pull the arm out so it looks like a knock-on.
Big time.
He's well versed. He's Sean Wayne's perfect player. Is
big time. So for me, Catalan, we said goal kicking. I think the battle of the hookers. I think Mickey Mac, his experience and what he can bring to the game is a real positive for
and I might be wrong here. For that reason, I think Wigan, if he's fit, might start with Sam Powell.
For his experience.
Maybe.
And I will concede that all day long.
I could be 100% wrong.
let's move up into the pack. Now, we've selected, again, from the semi-finals, who we think is going to be in and around the packs. We've gone with these three. Of course, we know on the bench there could be the likes of Harvey Hill, Desiree, Takiaho. We know that. But these are the three that have been thereabouts, in and around the squad all season long. And as you can see, it's advantage Catalan. It is advantage Catalan. 290 average, plays 241. But not just that. Those Catalan forwards have scored 8 tries between them this season to Wigan's 5. So you are there, Chief. Oh, Greg's having a moment. We'll just allow him to get back into the room.
Yes.
But as you can see, 290 plays 241. That's advantage Catalan. There's no question about that. It's going to be interesting to see if Catalan can keep this game narrow. You know, we've talked about what these two sides need to do on the day. We know that Wigan have got strike on the edges. They could absolutely burn Catalan in this game. They could. We know that Catalan's got a bit of, you know, the likes of Johnson on the left-hand side with Kieran, who've been doing well all season long, with Whitley thrown in for good measure. But if Catalan can keep this attritional down the middle of the field, with the likes of Mickey Mack in the hooking positions, with these three burning the meters down the middle, it's possibly Catalan's best opportunity of winning, for me, the grand final. They need to squeeze the field, they need to keep it compact, and they need to go down the middle. If they do that, we're okay. If you've been staying off screen just to see how long I could go on before you come back on your board, that's all I'm going to say.
I was asleep, to be honest.
Oh, fair enough. Right. So you've heard what I had to say. What's your
Here's in. Don't swallow a fly when you're live on air.
On.
What you said. No, I think, you know, Cade Ellis, he's had an in and out season from what I've seen of him. Busquets been an absolute stupendous player, as has Navarrete. Yeah. My favourite is Mike McMeekin. I think he's been absolutely.
And he'll play in there. He'll play in the props. He'll play.
Definitely, yeah.
He'll play in the front row. So, like I said, that bit down the middle, if they can keep it attritional, that for me is their best hope. As we go then into the back row, what back rows these are? You know, Kai Pearce-Paul, his final game for Wigan before going to the NRL. Liam Farrell, we rave about him. Yeah. Right. Allow me to talk you through my observations going through the stats on this one. We know Farrell is class. We know he is. You know, he has scored 9 tries, which is the most of any of those people there on the screen. We know has got that level of strike. However, if Catalan can get on the front foot, this back line has scored 18 tries to Wigan's 9 this season. This back line has made more tries. They've made more tackle breaks, 154 to 123, and they've made more clean breaks, 20 to 12. So if Catalan can get on the front foot, what we know about Catalan's back line is that as an attacking force, it's slightly better than the Wigan Warriors, which could be seen as a massive advantage if they can be on the front foot.
And that is, you know, that's incredible. That's incredible stats. But you've got the Liam Farrell factor in there. And he's the difference, I think. Liam Farrell is the difference. And he is a player that if that back row is being battered, he will drag them up by the bootlaces.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because the biggest the biggest tackle buster on that screen is Farrell with 70. Yeah. He's head and shoulders. He's also comparable to the Catalan backline with 7 clean breaks this season. But here's the kicker. Sorry, Catalan fans. We get into detail here at Super League Raw. As good as all that sounded there for the Catalan Dragons in terms of if they're on the front foot, there's a big, big problem here. A big, big problem. And that is the man that's going up against Liam Farrell, Paul Seguer, has missed 92 tackles this season. 92. Let's put that into context. Farrell has missed 34. That's putting that into context.
And that is poor by Farrell standards.
Yeah, but for 92, it doesn't get any better with Matt Whitley either. 62. We know that on both edges, these second rowers are going to be blitzed throughout the game. And when I put this together for tonight's show, that for me, of all the things we've shown, is as bigger stat as any as where this grand final could go, because Seguer and Matt Whitley have got to be better than that in defence come Saturday, or Wigan could quite frankly destroy him.
I agree. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I said, however, I mean, Morgan Smithies, he's very well versed in the dark arts as well. So he could counter McAlorum on that front. Yeah. But for me, as I said, I don't care how good your back row is, when you come up against somebody like Liam Farrell, you have to, all three of you have to up your game just to deal with that one player. And when you're doing that, that gives license to the other two.
Yeah, it's a big problem.
Field day, and that is the problem. And, you know, Liam Farrell has been, I honestly think Liam Farrell has had not a poor season, but not as consistent
by
season by his incredibly high standards. Again, man of steel, if ever there was one, Liam Farrell, as far as I'm concerned. But he's still the best second rower in the competition by a country mile.
I agree.
By a country mile, and that is the problem that Catalan's pack has got. Yeah. How do you deal with Liam Farrell?
Spot on, mate. Spot on. He's going to be a big one. So, like I say, there you go. That's we've gone right the way through what we think the starting lineup will be. Then it's going to be a case of this final start, mate. We're edging towards Wigan, but hold your horses. Hold your horses. How have these two teams compared against the top six this season? Well, we know that Catalan have fared pretty well against Wigan. We know that, albeit they're 2-1 down. 2-1 up, sorry. So the 2-1 up against the Wigan Warriors this season. But look at that, St. Helens, 3 from 3. That's not to be sniffed at. Wigan, a win and a loss. The Robins, similar. You know, Wigan, with that Challenge Cup game thrown in, obviously that got them one of the wins. So 2 wins and a loss, 2 wins and two losses for Wigan. Both have done the Leopards 3 times. Wigan have done the Wire 3 times. Catalan, we know, had their difficulties in the early season against Warrington before the you-know-what hit the fan. Yes. So before we give our predictions for the grand final, we've gone through every position. We think Field has got the advantage of the back. We think the three-quarter line of Wigan is solid. If it's a tight game, we think Kieran could be the game breaker, the game winner with his goal kicking. We know that the halfbacks of Wigan are better. McAlorum, does he edge it against O'Neill? Then we know the pack of Catalan is more potent down the middle if they can squeeze it and keep it central. And then there's advantages and disadvantages in the back row. If Catalan are on the front foot, like they were at Magic, we know that Whitley and Seguer and Garcia can run them up in attack. But then there's that little caveat of Liam Farrell and the missed tackles. Really interesting. The last stat, before we have a quick look, the last stat is this one. When we factor in everything, the top 6, Wigan have a 71.4% win ratio against the top 6. Catalan have a 73.3% win ratio against the top 6 as a measure across the season. Wigan are in form. Catalan have it in their locker to be superb. There you go. Now, there might be a lot of flannel on other podcasts and other stuff that's coming this week, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
But we've got into some proper detail there. The time has come, Greg. The time has come. Who are you going with and by what score?
Right. First of all, I really, really, really hope that the Catalan fans cross the channel, march up country and storm Old Trafford and make their presence known. There'd be nothing better than seeing than 7,000 or 8,000 Catalan fans in there, and I hope they do. I really hope they do. And I think they are going to. I think the Catalan fans are going to see their team lose by 18 plus to Wigan.
And you know what? It breaks my heart. But as I've gone through all of that, to put all of that together and looked at it, I've tried to make a case for Catalan. I think the fact that Wigan are 10 from 10, I think in every department other than central, can Catalan keep it central? Can they do what they did with Saints? Make it an arm wrestle. If they can, you stand a chance. If Catalan win, I can't see it being more than 1-8. I really can't. It's going to be those goal kicks, I think, that possibly does it.
I think St Helens tried to make it an arm wrestle on Friday night, and they fell victim to their own tactics, because Catalan like that. Like they like an arm wrestle, Catalan, and they can win an arm wrestle. I think Wigan can. I don't think Wigan will rely on the arm wrestle. I think Wigan have got the pace and the power down. Firstly, the power down the middle, and then they've got the pace on the outside. I think they've got the creativity of Field and French. They've got the class act that is Liam Farrell. They've got that bit of grubbiness in Morgan Smithies. I think I would be surprised if they start with Sam Powell and bring Brad O'Neill off the bench for his experience. I would love to see Catalan win the trophy. I think it'd be a breath of fresh air for the game, but I just can't see past Wigan winning this and by it. I think it'll be close in the first half, and then I think just Wigan will run away, and I think Wigan will win by 18 plus.
Yeah, well, it breaks my heart to say I agree with you. I just hope it's tighter than we think it will be. I want it to be tighter than that.
I would love nothing more than a golden point grand final.
Yeah, like we saw in the NRL, like we saw in Perpignan on Friday. Last 5 minutes, it's in the melting pot. It can go either way. That's what we want. That's what it's all about.
You've got to remember that Wigan success. And it hurts me to say this as a Wire fan, but I've said this in the grand finals we played against them. We were 16-2 up with almost half time approaching, and we lost 30-odd 16. They have that winning mentality. It's ingrained in their psyche. They know how to. Wigan and to a lesser extent Saints recently. They know how to win these big games. I think Catalan's grand final was against Saints on Friday, unfortunately, and I think,
and do you know what, we haven't mentioned the fact that was a proper game of rugby league.
Yeah, that was bruising. That was a bruising game. Whereas Wigan,
mate, if all I will say is based on what we've done there tonight, which I consider, I would love, if anybody finds anything that's more in depth than that, please let me know, because I'd love to watch it, because I like my stats, I like my detail. But we have gone through that with a fine tooth comb. We haven't mentioned the travel either. If Catalan were to win this, for me, having had that game on Friday, then the travel, the Wigan team that has been absolutely exceptional for the last 10 rounds and beyond this season, the quality, the flair, as a neutral, and I'd like to think even Wigan fans after the hurt would have to salute them and say, fair play, boys.
Yeah, as we did at Wembley a few years ago, we said fair play to them. It hurt us.
Yeah, it hurt us.
But they outplayed us on the day. Fair play to them. It would be nice. It would be lovely to see a new name.
Wouldn't it be nice?
It'd be lovely.
Wouldn't it be nice? Right, let's get into
still gonna happen, I don't think.
Dawn Baker sees Warrington. God, I wish.
I wish.
Wigan 1-8. That'll make a laugh. Dave Pye winning by 16. It's Wigan. There's not an awful lot of love for Catalan in the chat. Where am I going? I'm
Warrington Castleford.
I know.
That'd be a final.
I'm tired. Graham Parrish, Catalan by 8. So he's gone Catalan there. Greg, I really enjoyed that grand final preview. I think you like me. I just can't wait for the Jolly Boys out on Saturday.
It's going to be no matter what the result, it's going to be a great afternoon.
Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a great way to finish this show tonight. It might bring a tear to some people's eyes. We're going to pay tribute in a moment to some people. We will be back for the final show of the year, Super League Raw Weekly, the grand final review. We'll be back with Steph. We'll get Joel in the room as well. We'll go out with the four of us for this season. Catch us next week, 8 o'clock. For that, it's one not to be missed. We're in the Piccadilly Tap. We keep telling you, 2 o'clock on Saturday. We're in the Tap. Come in. Let's have a chat. Let's talk rugby league. What's better to do? Let's go. Let's have a chat. Let's enjoy it. And away we go.
And let's drink some Mango Unchained.
Oh, let's talk Mango Unchained on. That was phenomenal last season. But yeah. Like we say all the time, we don't do this for any other reason than for We don't do this for any other reason than the love of the game. And we don't, albeit it is becoming a lot tougher, I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, just putting that one out there to do this week in, week out. But hey, let's see what the new year brings. Let's hope we get that sponsor or two, and let's hope that we can carry on doing what we love to do. But there's only one way that we can go out. And like I say, I said to you, we put something together to finish off the season. There are quite a lot of players that are leaving our great game this season. So what we've decided to do is pay tribute to the gladiators of our sport on this second to last edition of Super League Raw Weekly for 2023. So Greg, if you want to say your goodbyes.
See you in the Piccadilly Tap on Saturday, people.
We most certainly will. Enjoy the final, ladies and gentlemen. And here are the people that basically are our heroes. Here are the people that are retiring. We wish them well.
Yeah.
And we'll see you at the grand final. All the best.
See you on Saturday.
Cogger, Kutcher, McQueen will do it himself. competition and thought, I don't need that.
Tompkins is running it. Tompkins! Sam Tompkins!